How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get that imagination all cranked up, get into some creativity, time to get into some animation, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Nicholas Kole. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is a wonderful artist. I love his color styles. I love his sensibilities, his draftsmanship, his layout, his composition. I think he's just phenomenal. What I really like about this piece in particular is just the way that he plays the colors off against each other. It's really strongly just some dark blues and yellows here, but he has them blended so well into each other. The lighting choices are lovely. He's got these little flecks of they're almost like leaves or fireflies or something that just helps blend the movement. He's got this really nice layout here, so you've got kind of this framed shot with the trees in the foreground and then the trees in the background here, and then through the middle that just frame the shot up so nicely. And really interestingly too, because of the shapes of those trees, it creates an interesting shape where you get this silhouette to read really well here as well. I first saw his stuff when I saw his work on Jelly Bots, I want to say a couple years ago, and I just really loved that. I didn't even know who he was at the time, but I thought that his color choices and the really way that he does these vibrant watercolors, but still kind of feels a little muted, which speaks to my sensibilities for sure. But I love his character design too. Those kind of darker watercolored, more roundish noses I really like in character design as well. Just really fun characters that have a great sense of anatomy and fullness to them, so they feel like they could exist in a real world. He's got great perspective, just wonderful stylings. So I urge you guys to check out more stuff from him. Really love, he's one of those artists where it's hard to find a piece of his that doesn't speak to me, and I love artists like that. Even just his sketch work. I really like this design too. I thought that was a really creative idea to have a character whose kind of weaponry or arsenal was these giant paint brushes. I thought that was a really interesting idea as well too. So like I said, I urge you guys to check out more stuff from him. I'll throw some links down in the description below, but I did want to share a quote that I was able to find from him, and he said, "A bad drawing is better than no drawing at all." It's really a tough thing, but a refreshing thing. There are definitely those times where I've been working for 8 hours, 10 hours, and I'm just like, okay, I just want to zone out and do something else. But then it's like, well, this is the only time I have left to kind of not just work, but study or improve or just sketch or do something like that. And there's always that, but I don't want to do something bad. And so you kind of have that little toss up, but I think it's a great, he puts it so succinctly that a bad drawing is better than no drawing at all. Just such a great thing to, going out there and going for a run, even if you don't go as far as you think you should go, you're still getting some exercise. It's that kind of mentality of, even if it's not going to be perfect, try anyways, because you're probably going to learn something out of it or grow. So yeah, wonderful stuff. Let's continue on with our shot. I do not feel like I am very eloquent today, so apologies in advance on that. We are using the Malcolm version 2 rig from Anim School, and we're using Maya 2014, and we're using a audio clip which I don't think was playing yesterday, or at least it wasn't loud enough. So I'll go ahead and turn that on real quick just so you guys can see that, because we're going to do some lip sync and everything here too. So I'll go ahead and play that real quick so you guys can actually hear the shot that we're going to be lip syncing to. So like I said, I'll go ahead and turn that off for now, because we're going to just work on just the rough kind of blocking out the main beats of this shot. But as I said, the yesterday, which sorry for the audio not coming through quite loud enough, had to tweak some stuff around, but I think hopefully it's coming across. I think it's going to be a really fun thing to get a lip sync into. There's going to be a lot of different mouth shapes that we can play around with, and they're all, it's still fairly quick throughout it too, so I think it'll be a fun challenge for sure. So let's go ahead and get into some animation before I ramble on and not even be able to speak correctly today. Alright, so first thing I need to do is I want to go ahead and turn off the visibility on this stuff here. And go ahead and turn off all the extras on here so our rig isn't so slow while we're working here. So I'm just going to zero some of this stuff out where I can. And I think it was that hair. Okay, so we're down to brass taxes here. Make sure we just have our NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons selected, and let's go ahead and get in here. So what I was thinking to start off with is actually have him kind of do a little bit of a walk inward. I always like to start kind of in the middle of a movement. I feel like that gives a good semblance of that something just happened. Okay, so go ahead and grab everything here, and we'll set our first key. It's going to work here. We're going to be laggy on me today. Okay, there we go. And then we'll go grab the foot controller here. We'll go like, I want this to be kind of slow, so we'll go 12 frames ahead. We'll go ahead and move that foot forward. And go ahead and move the hips forward a little bit here. And I'll keep this foot on the ground there. And we'll go another, let's go a little bit longer here. So this will be, let's do 16 frames. And we'll do another step forward there. These are just going to be small ones just so that we have him kind of slowly moving forward here. So we've got, I think that other step might be too far. I want these to be kind of small steps here. So let's move that one back there, back here. And we'll do another one. Probably around, I'm not going to have these be too uniform because I want them to kind of be a little bit off here. And we'll go and move those hips forward a little bit there too. So let's see. And maybe one more kind of quicker step there. A smaller one. And let's turn, how far away are we from this thing? Let's try to get him to about right there. So maybe about half the shot we'll have him walking in through. So maybe a couple more steps. And again, like I said, I'm not going to make these too uniform. Because I want them to feel like he's not putting effort into walking. It's just a secondary kind of action to this shot. And we'll go here. So we have some slow steps and some quicker steps, some wider steps and some slower steps. We'll go ahead and hold this one. There. Another one here. And go to there. I think that's about as close as I want them to get because I want to leave some space between there. There's some part of this where this is floating, so I want to make sure that this stays planted. this foot stays planted. Let's take what we have at 25 and move that to what, 40? Maybe 39, where is it? Let's go ahead and push that back a little bit more. Alright, so let's do a quick play blast and just see how that. Alright, it's okay. It's a little too slow, and I think I want to make it a little more even. We've got probably too quick of a step, at least that one for sure. So which would be that one, I think. So let's grab everything here and we'll try and balance it out maybe a little better. I added too much variety here. So we'll go window, animation editors, graph editor. Oh, look, see, we got 12 frames there. Let's go 13 frames. And let's see what that be. It's again 13 frames, go 13 frames, then we'll go 12 frames from there, which would be 50. So I'll push that back a little bit because that was a little too quick. And then go 14 frames here. And I'll go 12 frames from there. So let's try looking at that now. Alright, it's okay. Still needs some more work, and I think I want to slow it down towards the end and maybe do about 2 more steps. So let's take this one and add about 4 more frames. Take this one and add quite a few more frames. So we're slowing down a little bit more as we go. We'll do 1 more here. Do another play. Okay, I feel like the beginning works okay and the ending works okay, or the last bit of that works okay. The timing feels a little better, but need to clean up that middle part. So let's take a look more at the spacing of these steps here. So let's look there and try to make them a little more even. We'll do kind of one at a time here. So we'll kind of just taper them off. It doesn't have to be exact, and I want there to be a little bit of variation here. So this one I'd want to be a little bit lower. This one I want to be a little bit lower. And that one. So we kind of have increasingly smaller steps throughout. And let's look at the other side. We'll do something kind of similar there. Just a little bit lower. Just kind of need to figure out where we want to put the hips. So let's kind of see how that feels. And let's clean that up. We don't need the hips going that far, that fast. constant throughout there. Maybe more of a slow towards the end here. Let's try that now. Okay, we need to get, feels like it's about right there. And let's see where we're at, about 80. Go ahead and push that forward. Again, I'm trying to keep it pretty loose. I'm not trying to make everything too tight just yet. And I need to just kind of key in some main aspects here. This one. Alright, let's do another play blast. Feels like it just goes on for too long. Let's take about the last, like I said, pretty much about where we're at about 90 is where I want to stop having it move. So let's take pretty much all of whatever steps are after this one plants, which would be at like 99, and we'll just get rid of that stuff right now. Try to get the hips balanced out here. And maybe we'll slow these down a couple more frames here. So we'll add another 2 frames here, or just another frame there, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames, and a couple more, so we kind of taper off with our timing a little bit more too. Alright, let's do it. I think we taper it off a little too soon though. We do about 2 more steps that are a little bit quicker. So I got 12 here. Let's keep that with 13. Move that forward another little bit. Forward a frame. Let's look at the stride distance here. Further on this one. And this one too. It's like it just tapers off a little too quick. And look at this one. A little bit more here. Here. And that last one can be kind of small there. that should taper off fairly well. So let's see how it's almost there. Still needs a little more tweaking. And I think we might need one more step after that too. And I think this step needs to be still a little bit further forward. So I'll go a little bit further forward. Feels like it just tapers off with the distance a little too soon here. Which means that this one's going to need to be a little bit further forward too. And maybe we could do one more. It's like about like this. Maybe it doesn't even get there till there. This is just kind of secondary action. We're going to have our main acting here, but I want some little steps just so there's some body movement, that he's constantly getting closer, encroaching on where he wants to go. So let's go ahead and... it's still not there. We need to make these steps a little bit further still. You just cut off a little too soon. And let's see, this one means that'll be a little bit more here. And look here. Delete that. Don't want any extraneous frames at this point. And delete that. And delete this one. Again, it's all about keeping it simple for right now. Let's just look at our overall posing some more. So that feels good, that feels good. This one's okay. That one's okay. This one's okay. Delete that. Let's just look at the spacing of the steps. So I've got that much there, that much there. It's a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less. And this one needs to be more. That much, and that much, maybe a little bit more here, and then this last one. Something like that. Okay. So again, let's just look at the spacing between the legs to see how we're doing here. Again, I feel like this one needs to be a little bit more. That one. Maybe this one's just too far forward. Could be our problem. And let's make sure that one stays where it's at. We'll pull this one back. small gap there. And this one, I'll have to bring that back again too. So we just have a slow taper off of these steps. Alright, that should be pretty close to what we're looking at here. And bring those hips balanced in a little bit more. Let's do a plate blast of that and see how that. Alright, it's finally starting to come together. Now again, this is just rough timing on this basic move, but I want to get that working. Let's throw our audio in here and see how it works with the audio. Okay. Okay, so we got that slow, gradual taper off of the movement that kind of plays around with the cadence of the audio as well. I think I want this last step, though, to be a little tiny bit further and a couple frames slower. So where it hits there, because I still want to try and get just a hint of distance between there, and I want maybe 2 more frames to get there. Take this and push that a couple frames back a little bit further. And let's delete that. Okay, and how close do we end up getting to where we're at? That still gives us some room there. Alright, so again, this is just real rough, just trying to get the overall timing of the main body mechanics before we get into acting and doing the posing and everything. Really, it's just the meat and potatoes really of how we want this to be timed out for our beats of our main movement there, and I feel like that works. It's not perfect yet, but it's something that we can start working with now. Okay, so should we break this down further? Should we get into, I think I want to do my couple of breakdowns here. I think I'll do that with just the chest for right now. Just because I want to hit a couple of these acting beats there. So here I want to be bent down, and where's this arm controller there? Is that the one? So he's really looking at it. And I want which arm controller are we using here? Bring that up over here, bend it up here, over, up, I think we might need to go back a little bit further here. In a little bit more. Bring this finger out and have it kind of pointing exactly where he's looking there. We'll bring that shoulder down a little bit more, forward. And let's look at our silhouette, how we want to play that. And let's look at our keyed everything first there. Okay. Whew. For some reason I was thinking that maybe I didn't key those, but I did. Good. Remember, it's always good to start off by keying everything so that your auto key starts clicking in and you're not losing poses. We'll get that thumb down a little bit more. Neck down a little bit more too, and that head a little bit more down there as well, so really just really looking intently at that thing. And a little tablet here. Okay, so we know we want to hit this pose. Everything, and we'll lock in that one. So we have our first main pose, and then we've got this one, and then I want to hit the last pose. These are going to be our 3 main beats here to everything. Bring that down, over. Over, because we want to turn his intense study into defeat at the end here. And bring that forward a little bit more here. And we might have to go push that a little bit more just so that we can get it. Neck. And we're going to drop that down in this portion of the neck. And drop that. And rotate that down here. And push the spine a little bit further. Arm over here. And bring this arm down. Come on, where's my elbow controller here? Now, there's a couple of ways we could do this. We could do one where maybe he's covering his eyes, or... yeah, I think that might work better. No, but I want the face to be a big focus, so perhaps not that idea. Maybe just kind of, let's see. What kind of acting beat do we want to do here? This out there. There. Bring this over. Just kind of one of these kind of a hand poses. So we'll bring that in. Bring that over. Bring that out. And just keep tweaking this a little bit more. Maybe that pinky will go in a little bit more here. And let's bring this one back a little bit. Drop these shoulders down. Where's the shoulder controller here? Where's the shoulder? Okay. Drop that down there. And drop that down there. To do a little counter animating on the tablet itself just so it doesn't intersect through the leg, but we'll worry about that. It's more of a later beat, not necessarily something we need to tweak with right now, but I'm just trying to avoid the intersection there. That's something. Let's see. It's not very good though. Can make this more interesting, but maybe we'll stick with that for now. And drop the head down a little bit more. Maybe we'll do it so that he's like rubbing his head instead. In which case we could get that other arm out a little bit further. Yeah, I'll come up with a better hand pose. I gotta work around because we're gonna have the hair on him too. Okay, I think that will work. And we'll have to play around. Let's do a quick play blast. Alright. And obviously, this is why you don't let Maya do your in-betweens and everything. You gotta break everything down, but I think we've got enough there that we can start breaking this down a little bit more. Alright, yeah, let's do that. So, let's start off with the end here. So let's turn our sound off for right now. And we want to hit about 154 and about 136. Let's actually turn the sound back on and see where he starts kind of crying or... Okay, so it's going to be... kind of want to hit it about 117. That's where we're looking at. So that means we're going to want to take and hold kind of this stuff. Up till about 110. And same with the arms, we'll hold those up a little bit tighter. Again, trying not to have a ton of keys here just yet, just our main kind of breakdowns and everything. And we'll hold about 95 till about 110 there. That a little bit quicker. So go about 133 at about 120. Ease into that. And again, remember, this is just rough, trying to get the whole idea working. It's nothing polished or anything yet. Let's just do a play blast and see if that kind of... Okay. It's alright. Definitely could be a little bit... It's just real slow between everything. So, let's see. And I mean, it's obviously because we only have a few keys in here. Let's keep the arms. Take what we're at about 116 and bring that to 160. And then take what we have on this hand and arm and bring that till about the same. Hold what I have at 4 till about 40. that. And let's look at this arm. We'll get that up first. So I'll hit about 86 and about 68. To hit sooner, so that needs to hit at about 58. Let's actually do about 93. And we'll hold what we have at 3 till about 40. Let's try this again. So let's grab all of those. And all of the spine. And we'll go to set what we have at the beginning at 8 till about 40. Now again, this is real, nothing's really timed out and textured or anything, just trying to get the main beats through here, so let's see how this is feeling. Alright, it's a little bit better. Okay. Alright, so have a little bit of time left for today, so let's start breaking down that walk inward a little bit more, so we can start getting into something a little bit more. Alright, let's look at the hips here. I'm going to turn their sound off for right now. Let's actually start with let's do feet first. So I want to go through and just make sure we're keying all of our main spots here. And delete those ones. Okay. So let's start here with this foot. I'll go at 6 and we'll lift it up. And we want these to be low steps. I don't want them anything to be noticeable. These are just kind of gradually, he's inching forward towards the door as he's trying to figure out what to say to get it to open. Bring that up. Okay, and let's look at the other side. And we'll go lift that up, bring it down. That up and bring it down and lift it up and bring it down and lift that up and bring it down. Alright, go through and kind of balance out the height of all those steps. So there's nothing too high, and I think we'll slowly taper them lower as we go here too. So there are less pronounced steps as we go. Maybe not that much, but a little bit more. Okay, and then let's look at the hips here. And we'll go ahead and lift them up there, and down, and up, and down, up, and down, up, down, up, down, up again, and down again, up one more time, down again, up a little bit, down, and then down again. Okay, now let's look at those translate wise and try and balance those out a little bit more. Bring those all down here, there, there, there. And then I think I want to go about here and bring that a few frames closer. All right. Feels a little slow there, so let's go a couple frames closer, and we'll also just bring all that down a little bit more. Alright, and let's look at our translate X's here. Go ahead and push it over a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, there, 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 there. Okay, and get rid of all those in between. Let's make sure we're getting balance between both sides, so we're not favoring the left or the right side, but going pretty close down the middle here. And again, kind of taper it off a little bit more because those steps towards the end are smaller. Okay. Alright, and let's do a little bit of rotate here. I'm going to rotate Y there, and a little bit there, 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 just to favor that front planted foot here. Zero it out there. And again, try and scale that back a little bit more. And do a little bit less as the steps get smaller. And that one should be pretty much nothing there because that's just settling. So let's see. Okay, and a little bit of rotate Z. I know we're getting towards our time here, but I at least want to get the hips kind of started here. We got an overall pass at just our timing really, and a rough posing. Just so we can kind of get the feel of this shot working, which I think is there. Still a long way to go for sure. But necessary kind of passes to get the shot ready to really get into more of the acting portion. Just got to get some workable body mechanics in here first. That's kind of my approach. I always look at body mechanics first and then overlay the acting on top of the body mechanics. So you know the basic foundation is working, and then you can get into your posing and everything after that. I feel like that's for me at least, it works fairly well. So let's do a quick play. Alright, it's alright. I think this getting into there is a little too quick though, so let's try to give ourselves a couple of more frames. And again, this is still way rough, but the main idea is there. So let's turn our sound off again, and then the time that this takes to get there. Make sure I got everything here. And set that. And get rid of this. Bring it forward a few frames. Okay, let's keep tweaking that because we need a couple more frames to get between those. And get the neck and everything here. So I'll set everything there. Actually, let's set everything in about 111 here. Try and delete extraneous frames I don't need here. Eventually have 140. Delete that. We'll kind of try and ease out of that a little bit better. And delete 120. 134. There. Alright, let's see if that timing looks a little better. Alright, it's better, but I think it's still a little too quick. Maybe the 3 more frames and also needs to hit a couple frames sooner. So turn our sound off again. So I want to hit like 138 and about 134. And I want to hit 122 about 3 frames sooner. Let's do a play blast now. Alright, it's getting there. I still think it needs to hit probably about 3 frames sooner. And start, yeah, let's do that. So, turn our sound off again. And go, like I said, about 3 frames sooner. So we hit, I think I said about 117 is really wanted to hit that. Hit that a little bit sooner here too. And maybe not. Okay, so I hit there. This arm to hit a little bit sooner. And actually, let's start all of that move about 3 frames sooner. So give me another frame in here and 2 frames there. Let's do a play blast on that. Alright, I think for just getting the rough info in there for the shot, it's workable for what we have. So let's take a look back at where we started. I'm going to turn the audio off and we'll have this playing in the... Alright, we still have a long way to go on this shot, but I think got some of the rough information in there that we need to get. So that's good. And we started off looking at the beautiful work of Nicholas Kole, and he said a bad drawing is better than no drawing at all. And I think it's a great thing to keep in mind as you're going through your creative, imaginative workflows and struggles and studies and all of that stuff today, using your creative juices, that to put in some time and some effort into building and developing your skill, even if it turns out not the way that you had expected it, is better than to just not do it, which is a tough thing, because if you are anything like me and any sort of person with OCD or perfectionist tendencies or any of those kind of things, sometimes it can be daunting, but you have to let yourself learn and grow and study and all of that stuff. So thanks for hanging out with me. We still have a long way to go on this shot. Kind of playing around with a little bit of a different workflow here, because I'm trying to play off the main body mechanics and have acting overlaid kind of on top of that. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think it'll definitely be interesting. Anytime there's this great I don't know who it was, but there's this great shot that one of another student when I was learning did that I always kind of remembered in the back of my head, because it was the first time I kind of encountered that as an academic animation versus just a watching it. And he did a two character dialogue shot of people jogging, which I thought was a really tough thing to tackle, because you have the body mechanics of 2 people running and jogging, then you have the composition and the layout of trying to make the camera angles work so that you can see the acting behind that. You have to think your silhouettes. You have to think all of this stuff through, and it was a really intensive thing. So we've got a lot to go, a lot more steps to go on this one, but I think it'll be fun. I've got some fun ideas that I can't wait to get in there and implement. And that's one of the other challenges about doing this stuff is, where I could normally, if it's a shot that I'm working on, sit down and work on it for 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, and really just dive in there. But trying to keep these into 1 hour chunks so that we can share them and go through them each and every day together makes me think in a different workflow. So I have to plan out a little bit more as well. And sometimes if I want to spend more time on there too, I have to wait till the next day or cut it and deliver it in different timing too. So it creates a different workflow too. But I think that's good to mix things up. So I hope that you guys are carving out some of your own time to work on your own dreams and to take another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love you guys lots. Sorry I wasn't as eloquent as normally I can be at times. Today's not one of those days, evidently, but we will persevere through that and keep on animating, keep on imagining, keep on creating together. As always, if you guys are working on your own stuff, feel free to throw the links down below so that I can give you that thumbs up and that extra encouragement whenever I can, because I want to see the stuff that you guys are creating, because I know you're super creative and I can't wait to see everything that you guys come up with. But I'm getting rambly, so we'll wrap it up, and I think that'll do it. So we will see you for some more animation, some more imagination, some more creativity, and some more learning and growing together.